Welcome to Concrete Block, the podcast where we break down the latest news and current events. We have two major stories to discuss, both involving the United Kingdom and its relationship with the United States. First, let's look at the recent meeting between European leaders and President Donald Trump. The meeting was intended to strengthen ties between the US and its European allies, but it seems that internal divisions within Europe may hinder a unified front. Leaders are struggling to agree on key issues, such as sending a mission to the Strait of Hormuz to help restart commercial shipping following the US ceasefire deal with Iran. Meanwhile, in the UK, there's been a significant shakeup in leadership. Keir Starmer has stepped down, and Andy Burnham is set to become the next Prime Minister. But President Trump has already expressed his skepticism about Burnham, calling him extremely liberal and suggesting that he may not be willing to open up the North Sea for oil drilling. It's clear that the relationship between the US and the UK is at a crossroads. With Burnham's leadership style and policies still unknown, it remains to be seen how he will navigate the complex diplomatic landscape. Will he be able to build a strong working relationship with President Trump, or will their differences drive a wedge between the two nations? We will be exploring these questions and more in the coming segments. For now, let's take a closer look at the implications of Burnham's leadership on UK-US relations. We'll examine the potential challenges and opportunities that lie ahead and discuss what this means for global politics. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're diving into the complex world of international relations, where a recent deal between the US and Iran has raised eyebrows. According to reports, the two nations have reached an agreement that could potentially ease economic sanctions on Iran in exchange for concessions on their nuclear program. Our guest expert, Ravi Agrawal, editor-in-chief of Foreign Policy, has been following this story closely. He notes that the deal is a double test for President Trump, who must deliver on economic incentives and rein in Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu to prevent further attacks on Iran. The Iranians, having suffered significant losses in the recent conflict, are seeking wholesale sanctions, relief, and a chance to rebuild their economy. But what does this mean for the region and for global security? Some argue that Iran's ability to shut down the Strait of Hormuz gives them a powerful economic weapon, one that could be used to deter aggression. Others point out that this leverage has an expiration date as countries diversify their energy resources and supply chains. As we explore this story, it's essential to consider multiple perspectives. The US, Israel, and other nations have legitimate concerns about Iran's nuclear ambitions, while the Iranian people deserve economic relief and a chance to rebuild after years of sanctions. The path forward will require careful diplomacy and a commitment to transparency and verification. The next few months will be crucial in determining the success of this agreement. If diplomacy moves in the right direction, we may see a significant shift in the regional dynamics, with potential benefits for all parties involved. But if things go south, the consequences could be severe. Welcome back to the show, folks. As we wrap up today's Concrete Block, I want to dive into a fascinating topic that's been making waves in the world of geopolitics. We're talking about the shifting dynamics in the Middle East and how it's impacting the region's relationships with global powers like the United States and China. Now it's no secret that the Middle East has long been a hotbed of international tensions, with various nations vying for influence and control. But what is interesting is how the region's leaders are starting to take matters into their own hands, seeking to create a more autonomous framework for resolving conflicts and promoting stability. According to recent reports, Saudi Arabia has floated a proposal for a regional non-aggression pact, modeled after the 1975 Helsinki Accords, which helped reduce Cold War tensions in Europe. This move is seen as a significant step towards building a more cohesive regional architecture, one that is less reliant on external guarantors like the United States. Of course, this development is not without its challenges. The region's complex web of rivalries and alliances makes it difficult to achieve consensus, and the presence of proxy forces and external influencers can easily derail even the best-laid plans. Nevertheless, the fact that Middle Eastern leaders are exploring new avenues for cooperation and conflict resolution is a positive sign. As we consider the implications of this shift, it's essential to acknowledge the role of global powers like China and the United States. While Washington's influence in the region remains significant, its application has become less predictable, leaving some nations to wonder if they can still rely on the U.S. as a guarantor of security. Meanwhile, China's growing economic presence in the Middle East is creating new opportunities for cooperation, but also raising questions about Beijing's long-term intentions. As we navigate this complex landscape, it's crucial to approach the topic with nuance and balance. We must recognize the agency and autonomy of Middle Eastern nations, while also acknowledging the legitimate concerns and interests of global powers. By doing so, we can work towards a more informed understanding of the region's dynamics and the potential paths forward. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay informed.